It's horrible. All right, you can keep talking though.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I've handed out these source sheets. Last week, we discussed the
The worthy one, you can give me one, it's okay.
the words of the hostages. And I just want to review one of the hostages in order to raise the question of what we are, what's the question we're going to deal with on a more philosophical level. Everyone has, okay, yeah. So let me-
And in the meantime, for 2 seconds, tell me what it is.
This is the book. It's broken up into chapters. So we asked everyone to take one or two, depending on how long or short they are.
Do we know?
What's that?
To proof it a little?
Yeah, we'll give you ideas, right in the margins,
Right.
feel free. So this is Ms. Moore 68. It's a good one, it's long. This is 74, 25. These are good.
Okay.
Good stuff. Okay. So if you look on the source sheet, we know that the hostages that came back, they tell you the stories about what they were up to and and a lot of them were under other than physical torture, psychological pressure and spiritual pressure, religious pressure to convert. And I just want to read what on the second column, in the middle of the page, it says Imo Shel Rom Braslavsky. Right? The guy is not religious. He's in the Nova party, and he gets taken. So his mother, in an interview, said it was kol kach haya chashuv lo lishmor al hazehut hayehudit shelo. It was critically important for him to keep his Jewish identity. Ki hem bikshu mimenu litaslem. They asked him to convert to Islam. V'nisu lefatot oto she'im yikra b'Koran v'yatzum b'Ramadan. If he would read the Quran and fast on Ramadan, az yafatzu oto be'ochel u'matanot k'tonot. They would give him more food. They would give him soap or pinukim acherim, other types of special things. Ramadan fast. Yeah. Aval ron lo nishbar ve'lo asarte. הוא אמר להם, אני יהודי חזק, I'm a Jew, a strong Jew. ואיכשהו בא הוא הניח, the minute he came back, הוא הניח תפילין, עכשיו כשחזר הוא חוזר ואומר כל הזמן, אני יהודי. And the question that's asked is, where did they get the strength? People were not religious. What gave them the strength to do this? Israel is unique, and you all know the stories of people, when there's a war in Israel, when there's one in any other country, people flee the country. A war in Israel, Israelis from all over. They might be living for years in Chutzlaris. They come back. The person who gave the shiur, I told you was a fellow Rav Elchanan Nir, said he has a neighbor, Dov Fisher. He was in Nepal with a couple of friends, a couple of people he met in Nepal, in Argentina, from Argentina. And he heard about the war. The next moment, he's packing to go, and his travel buddy said, "What are you doing?" He said, "There's a war." He goes, "Yeah, there's a war. You don't go back." So Israelis go back. What gave them the source with the strength? And before we get into that question, and we'll get into we look at two sources tonight. One is from the Admor HaZaken, the founder of the Chabad movement, Rav Shneur Zalman Miladi. We spoke a little bit about it last week. And the second is from Rav Shagar in his interpretation of the passage we're going to read. Rav Shagar, again, Rav Shimon Gershon Rosenberg, passed away about 11 years ago. And I never knew him in his life, I only knew after his death. And then we got very connected, learning in this very broad-minded yeshiva. Broad-minded in both ways, very yeshivish, also very academic, very Hasidic. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. And I recommend we spend some time, whenever you come to Israel, spend some time learning over there. It was worthwhile to meet the people. Before we get into these sources, and if anyone has a pen, or I have an extra one, you didn't bring your pencils.
I might have a pen here.
Yeah, a couple of pens for, I want you to write down, say, what is your, what in 4 or 5 or 6 words, what are aspects of your identity? What are aspects of your identity? Oh, there you go.
Serious.
Okay, you have the back sheet over here, you can use that. What, well, just.
You need a pen with
Well, no, I have a,
me? They don't work, let me know, just, I took them out of a bag that I found in the drawer.
okay, what are aspects of your identity? Now, don't write male.
I'm not sure. One word, you're saying one
No,
word?
no, a couple of words. For example, American, I can write is, is Jewish, Syrian, what are aspects of your identity? And write them down. Give a minute to do this, and you listening at home can do it as well.
You know,
Not a pen?
No, no, here.
Oh, I thought you were saying it's dead.
Give them here.
Oh, for those guys, yeah.
The Zoom guys. And so take a minute.
Does aspects, when you say aspects, do you refer to personality type?
No, identity. What is your identity?
Identity.
Like my identity card,
White Anglo-Saxon
it has
Protestant.
my name, it has
Right,
my date of birth,
right, got
and
it,
where I live. Those are some aspects of my identity, but not the most important ones. What
right,
are the most important aspects, 5, 6, 4, of
Right.
your identity?
right.
Oh,
Mm. Is anybody on today? Anybody there, by the way?
yeah, there are people there.
Oh, you see people? Yeah,
He looks funny looking, he has a white head.
white head, yeah. He's not identifying himself, that person.
Let's see, view participants. So Ronnie and Morris.
Oh, Morris is there?
Yeah.
And Ronnie also?
Ronnie's you.
Oh, Ronnie, me, oh.
Okay.
Hi, Morris, just say hello to you, okay.
Hi.
Delayed hi.
Neat.
Okay, we good?
Now, these are things that really are important in our lives and to how we identify. Uh, Did anyone put Jewish down?
No. Yes.
I'm Jewish.
Proud Jew.
Right. So is there somewhere in the 4 or 5 or 6 things that how you identify? How you identify yourself? You didn't put it down.
I did, I said Jew and I said.
Proud Jew.
So
American, Jew,
I put father, husband, thinker, Jewish, American, Israeli.
right,
Those are mine. So we're going to speak now about identity, and we're going to look at the words of Rosh Zalman Miladi. I'll call him Ha'admor Hazaken. That's the Hebrew phrase, and looking into how he speaks about these things. And one thing when we read classic texts or ancient texts, we have to realize that sometimes these texts use language that's not our language. And we're going to be getting into language which is foreign to us. nevertheless, it's sometimes when we can translate these ideas into things that into our terms, they're very profound ideas. And that's what we're going to look at now. So let's look at the Bala Tanya. He's called also the Tanya. It's in the second column in the middle. The first concept we're going to come upon is the idea of the Avot, the patriarchs, being a Merkava for Hashem. Okay, it's a concept that he's going to refer to, and he's going to refer to it from Bereshit Rabbah. So he's taking the pasuk, Ki karov elecha davar meod, right? V'ficha v'levavecha la'asoto in Parashat Vayelech. It's very close to you. Now we're starting now from Tanya. Perek Yud Ches. ולתוספת ביאור, בהר היטב מילת מאוד, שבפסוק כי קרוב אליך דבר מאוד. It's very important, this idea. צריך לדעת נאמנה. כי אף מי שדעתו קצרה בידיעת השם ואין לו לב להבין כי בגדולת אין סוף ברוך הוא, even people whose knowledge about God is very, very minimal, and knowing what God is, and he doesn't really have even the intelligence to understand theologically and all these things. And to really get the right type of awe and love of God that's possible, even with his own intelligence. And this is the key idea, karov elav adavar meod, lishmor v'la'asot kol mitzvot haTorah. V'tamud Torah keneged kulan b'fiv. Even so, he knows nothing. He doesn't have even the brain power to understand things. This idea of Shmirat Mitzvot is very close to everyone and being connected. It's in his heart, really in his heart, in the depth of his heart. In the depth of his heart, with awe and love. מסותרת שבלב כללות ישראל שהיא ירושה לנו מאבותינו. That it is the hidden love and the hidden connection that is inheritance, a legacy from our fathers. Let's start with this point.
Can I ask a question about this, or you?
What do you mean by?
Hidden, the word hidden.
Hidden meaning not apparent, not even the person who has it can't even articulate it. It's something just like no one. You didn't think of any. No one thought you didn't before you walked into tonight about what your how you identify. What is your identity? What are the aspects of your identity? But when I asked you, you were able to tap into something, articulate what are these things that identify you. That aspect of tapping into it, it wasn't hard for any of us to pull that out, right? So it's something that's what he means by hidden. In other words, it is not always apparent to the person, even the person who has it, but it can be tapped into. Now, what does this mean, the Yerusha? You don't like the Yerusha aspect, right? And
Yeah, there's a lot of it I don't like.
well,
There's almost nothing about it that I do like.
but let me explain what Yerusha is, how I understand Yerusha.
Yeah.
I don't understand it in terms of a genetic situation
Right.
at all,
Right.
but I understand it. Each one of us, think of your grandparents. Are there traits that you have? Are there values that you have that you carry on from your grandparents? Undoubtedly.
You don't come from air.
Okay. Now, what about from your great-great-grandparents? We don't know. We don't know.
I know my grandparents.
But think about what culture is. No one is born into a vacuum. You don't come from air. You're not born into a vacuum. There's a certain cultural tradition. There's a certain cultural legacy that gets passed on. There's the Mishnah Masechet Avot speaks about the descendants of Avraham Avinu, right? Rachmanim, Baishanim, and Gomlech Hasadim. Right? These are aspects. Doesn't mean that everyone is exactly like this, but as culture gets passed on, even even without noticing it, you're not even aware of it. And that's sometimes when, at the beginning of a marriage, there are certain unexpressed expectations that the husband and wife have. Where do these expectations come from? They come from the different trajectories that our life or paths that our routes that our lives had. And they're expected, but we just don't know about it. We just don't even know to articulate them, to express them.
I already opinionated myself, so, but I don't want you to think I'm asking this question to prove what I
Okay.
just serious. We have people in this room over here. So I ask myself sometimes, it's related to this, how did we get what we have? Right? Our friends, our circles, right? There's more people that are than that are
Right,
in our really
Yes.
close circles
yes.
that we consider ourselves part of that group, right?
There's
Say
about-
any name.
there's
Say
about-
say any name.
25, 30 people.
Sam Mizrahi.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So there are people, and how did you get like that? So I think I say, well, your parents like, right? Or how were you brought up? What was going on behind the scenes that you landed like you landed? I'm pointing at you, but I'm pointing at everybody in the room. Did you ever ask yourself that question to yourself? Yeah. So how did you get like that? So I think the way you got like that was that, of course, that you didn't come out of there. Your parents brought you up in a certain way, and there were certain morals and ethics and et cetera, that hit. All that as a given. I'm going to ask the question this way. Well, you have siblings. You more or less will have siblings. Why did you land? Your brothers, right? They don't know what you do. Not even close. Not even close. I'm not speaking negatively about them. They're not in your parasha of period. They're not where you're at, right?
Okay.
So what got you like that? So I think a lot of what got you like that was your mentors, your teachers, the rad, and so on and so forth. And you were all impacted by that. And I think that's the number one. I'm putting this out on the table as a question. I think that's the number one thing that made you like that. It's the single biggest contributor.
No, you have to have the seeds and then the
No,
external.
I
the
agree with you.
external brought it up for-
I said that right away. I said, you didn't come out like that. How did your parents?
Let me clarify.
But how did you differ from, I use siblings only to say, so why are you different from your siblings then? You all came out in the same
But
thing.
this external
Because my
influences-
immediate past,
Yeah.
my immediate past was the rap.
That's what I meant. That's all I need to
But
say.
of
Really developed.
course, the way we are, it's not only
It just
cultural thing,
blossoms.
it's not only cultural thing. I didn't make that statement at all. What I'm saying is that there are cultural legacies that get passed on.
Right.
I didn't even say it's the number one aspect,
Uh-huh.
but I'm saying that there is something that gets passed on.
Yeah.
That gets passed on, and for different people, it's different things. For different people, different aspects of the cultural legacy stick with them, and that could be based also partially on their nature, right? Some people are, let's say, more intellectually inclined, some people are more physically inclined, some people are more artistically inclined, and that's fine. But that's something that can be actually hardwired into their nature.
Yeah.
But the only point I'm saying is that there is a cultural legacy that gets passed on, and it gets passed on especially through our tradition of what it is to be in this case Israelis, and he's saying also in a person that has no connection at all. It's still a Jew.
I don't know that that's a given.
I think they're going to do it, but that they have
I
the
don't know that that's.
they have the spark. The spark that they.
He wants, I don't know if that's a given, that's a tough one.
Okay, let's go on. It's not, the only point I want to get from here is that there is something that's passed on.
It's true, like the
So-
United States early, right? You had the Protestants' work ethic. The culture of the country was to work, and that's why it survived it well. Different,
Mhm.
the Irish, the Italian, they all had their culture
Mhm, mhm.
that let them succeed in certain ways.
Right, I mean, Max Weber, the famous sociologist in the beginning of the 20th century, attributes the Calvinist idea of predetermination to the success of capitalism or of the free market system of the United States and the Puritan work ethic. And he said, well, if everything is predetermined,
Yeah.
why work?
Mhm.
He says, but he says, how do you know if you're in God's grace? How does everyone know if you're successful? So in other words, to prove that I'm in God's grace, I need to be successful.
Great.
So I understand this more as a cultural legacy thing that goes on. רק שצריך לבאר, להקדים תחילה, continuing, בארץ שורש אהבה זו ועניינה, what's the root of it? ואיך ירושלים, ואיך נכלל,
גם דחילו.
בא גם דחילו, which is fair. בעניין, כי האבות הן המרכבה, ועל כן זכו להמשיך נפש, רוח ונשמה לבניהם אחריהם עד עולם, מ10 ספירות לקדושה שבארבע עולמות אצילות. Here we go. בריאה, יצירה, עשייה, לכל אחד ואחד כפי מדרגתו וכפי מעשיו. Okay, so this is the thing I spoke about language. And there's three aspects over here that I want to touch briefly upon. First, the idea of the Merkava, of the Avot being a Merkava. That idea is not a Kabbalistic idea. It's found in the Bereshit, in Midrash Rabbah. Look at Bereshit Rabbah. It's in the footnotes on the second column, the left column, number 1. What is it, number 3? Number 3, sorry. It all looks like 1 to me. Bereshit Rabbah, Vaychara deber ito, vayal me'al Avraham. תענה, הנפטר מחברו, בן גדול, בן קטן, צריך... Yeah, first page,
bottom left.
First page, bottom left. הנפטר מחברו, בן גדול, בן קטן, צריך ליטול ממנו רשות. You have to request permission. I'll skip down to the last line. אמר לו, three lines on the last. אמר לו, היפטר בשלום, הדו דכתיב, ויעל אלוהים מעל אברהם. אמר לאיש לקיש, האבות הן המרכבה, שנאמר, ויעל אלוהים מעל אברהם, ויעל מעליו אלוהים. You have this phrase that the avot are the merkava, or the throne or the chariot of God, that God sits above our heads. This idea gets expanded by the Hasidim, by the Baal Shem Tov, that we try to be a merkava, that God is resting upon our heads, is riding upon our heads. And we are going out into the world with that idea. What does this mean in our language? It means that when someone sees us and connects us with Am Yisrael, this is one of the ways that God acts in the world is through us. One of the ways that we take our understanding through our learning, through our teachers, and through our things of what God wants us to do in this world, and we carry it out in the world. And it's Hashem's way of, one of the ways Hashem acts in the world is like the same way he acts through the sun and the moon and the motions of and the force of gravity and all different things, all different mechanisms that he put into the world. There's one so-called mechanism that is a free-willed mechanism, and that's human beings. And then when we align our wills with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then we're actually carrying out like an extension of God's will into the world.
Is that?
No, I'm drawing it from, if we pass out Tanachim, I just want to tell you where I'm drawing it from. It's even, open up to the Megillat Ruth. That's what we do that's what we do the halachot, right? So who came and
So this we're an example to the world.
But I'm talking about things that go beyond that. Yes, that is that we have as a nation these things. But there's a statement by Boaz in Megillat Ruth which is when you look at it, it's like a non sequitur. When she asks him, it's on Perek Bet, Pasuk Yud, Perek Bet, Pasuk Yud.
Sorry.
After he shows her a lot of things and gives her a lot of things and really treats her well, but Tipol al Panea, it's Perek Bet, Pasuk Yud. But Tipol al Panea v'tishtachu arsa, she bowed down ותאמר אליו, מדוע מצאתי חן בעיניך להכירני, ואנוכי נוכריה? She doesn't yet know that Boaz is related to her
Right.
father-in-law. She doesn't know this. So why are you doing this?
He doesn't read it.
He knows.
Yeah, that's what it says, yeah.
He knows. He knows. He knows.
Oh, because
He knows because the Nav tells him, right? If you look at Pasuk Vav, Vayana Nar Anisav al Kosrim, Vayomar Na'ara Mo'aviyahi. She's a nigger.
Right.
She's a Moabiyah. That's what it means. That's what I meant. He's putting it down, right?
Right.
Hashava im Naomi miste Moab. Moab. A nigger from Africa. In other words, he's putting it down. And so Vayan Boaz, so she asked the question, why are you doing this? Vayan Boaz vayomer la, hugad li kol asher asit et chamotech, acharei mot ishech, ותעזבי אביך ואימך וארץ מולדתך ותלכי אל העם אשר לא ידעת תמול שלשום. It was told to me what you did. And he details what she did. ישלם אדוני פעולך, ותהי משכורתך שלמה מעם אדוני אלוהי ישראל אשר באת לחסות תחת כנפיו. Let your reward be great in front of. ותאמר אם שכן בעיניך. But how does that answer the question? She's asking him, why are you doing so many good things to me? And he says, God's going to pay. I was told God should pay your reward.
Because you chose to spare.
Yeah. But he's paying it. He's paying it because he sees his ability to carry out God's will in this world. I'm doing this because I'm carrying through what God's going to pay. God should pay your reward, and therefore I'm paying it. I understand this to be saying, in a sense, when we carry out God's will in the world, we are putting God into the world. In a sense, we are a merkava. We are a merkava. I think we spoke last week. I don't remember if it's over here or somewhere else about the kippah. Do we speak about the kippah? No. Because I talked this on Shabbat also, so
I don't think so.
okay. One time I was in a store, and a black woman comes over to me and says, "Oh,
Yeah, you did.
what's the thing on your head?"
We did speak.
I just speak about it, right?
Mhm.
I said, "Oh, this reminds me that God is above me, watching me, and making sure I behave correctly." And she said, "Good, that's a very good thing. It's good to have that sense." And in Yiddish, it's called Yareh Malka, Yarmulke, right? It's a Yareh Malka, that the fear of that God is with us. God is so in a sense. What's that?
I never knew that.
So in a sense, the idea is that when we are working through the world in the way we talk and the way we behave and the way it's like Hashem is, if we identify as Jewish, as Am Yisrael, as Torah followers, let's say, then the world looks at us and say, this is God acting in the world. And just as a parenthetical statement, and when it's Am Yisrael as a whole, the nation, the Jewish state, carrying out things in the world that are tremendous, it's the world looking at us and saying, yes, this is God's people.
That's why Hilul Hashem, such a big transgression,
That's right. That's right.
because you're God's representative. And when the priest does it, that's the ultimate Hilul Hashem, because he's the spiritual leader
When the Kohen does it, yes, when the Kohen does it,
Or nothing worse than that.
in the ancient times, and in our times,
Mhm.
when people who are seen as
Religious leaders.
clergy and do things that are abominable and abhorrent, and that it's not just that they themselves, it's they represent, this is God's people, and you know, there's a whole thing now with the woke right. Right, if you're following this, when Netanyahu calls them the woke Reich.
That woke,
Right.
Right.
right,
So,
oh,
right.
right.
Steve Bannon was asked a question. Steve Bannon is one of these people, right?
Mhm.
And someone asked him a question as he was walking into and out of some place. And he said, the Jews should know that the biggest problem is not the Muslims. The biggest problem is the Jews themselves who don't realize what's happening in the world. The Jews that voted for Mamdani and the Jews that voted for the Democrats and that. And
My brother Joey's quote all the time.
what's that?
That.
Yeah, it's true.
The Jews are the biggest destroyers of the Jewish people than anybody else.
Listen, what's coming out now in Israel, I'm not sure how much you're all aware of things that are going on and that have been going on with the Attorney General of the Army.
I read it, yeah.
But the plot thickens. It's really the web of corruption that was, and this is, as I tell you about what the lawyer for the soldiers said, I told you. The lawyer for the soldiers said that this was this was forced on them by the desire to overthrow Netanyahu, by the Biden administration, which is probably Obama behind it. There were people from the CIA forcing these types of things going on. It's really terrible, and it's really throughout. And the left in Israel was in favor of it also. Anyway, I want to go to
Now they
the.
can find the phone.
They find
Yeah, they found the phone.
and found the phone. It's been underwater for 3 days.
And turn it on at half the
And
battery.
that it worked, yeah. So now
It had half a battery?
It
it
doesn't
worked. It worked. No,
It worked.
It's phony. It's phony. Yeah.
Right, okay.
So the idea of Merkava, right? The idea that the Avot were Merkava, and the idea that we represent Hashem in the world is something that passes on, and it's not through DNA. It's not through DNA.
Why not?
I don't think it's through DNA because I don't believe it's DNA because you know what? Let's say there's people who converts, yeah. David HaMelech.
The worst DNA you can think of.
David HaMelech from the roots, from that. So I don't think it's through DNA. I think it's more through cultural thing and by connecting to them. So, and that gets it. Now he's mentioned the Sefirot and the Olamot.
Everything you said up till now, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be, I'm in a class that I'm listening,
Yes,
but I have a right to participate like
of
anybody else.
course, sir.
Right. I don't think anything you just said is complicated. I think it's all very basic and fundamental. I don't think he said anything right now. I said, when we look around the room, we see the people that we are. You see how you got, like, you didn't get, Lee said right away, you didn't come out of there, right? But how you ended up like you are today, I threw in that thing of we were fortunate to have like someone like that. And I think what he's saying, that word, Merkava, instead of Merkava, I mean, it's just a term. It's a term, like chariot. It doesn't mean too much to me personally.
But for them, it's a loaded term. For them, using the word mekava
Yeah.
has a loaded connotation.
You're right, and I say it means that they set down foundations for you, and you build on that foundation, and God, that's what God said to the Jewish people. You have to be Orleg Goyim, and you're Kohanim. So the imagery is like you're priests of the nations, and you got to go out there and you've got to make proper presentation of what I want. That's all. And when I say that's all, I mean, it's not complicated. That's all I mean.
Right.
For us in this room, certainly, anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the metaphor though is a strong metaphor. That the sense that God is riding on our heads. When you take that, it's a metaphor. I don't think it's a metaphor, and I think the metaphors have potency in the way we think about ourselves, and what we do.
Mhm.
And so and also we have to remember, if you were just to read it alone, you would dismiss this word. Unless unless it's mediated.
That
So-
metaphor is more required for someone who really doesn't have a strong foundation, then you have to sell them on that concept. You know, for the guys in this room, we're entrenched in that, we're involved in that already. We don't need the image of a Merkava in order to be able to be smart and do what we have to do.
You're saying something like this, it's good for kids, I'm being a wise guy now. Children need certain kind of metaphors because they won't understand
No,
them,
but-
or people aren't educated. But you meant that you don't need a metaphor of a chariot to understand this.
The point is that.
I'm not trying to be deprecating.
No, but I disagree. I think that we work with pictures.
Carries with it a certain union.
We think with pictures as well, not only in words.
Right, but like for the guy who was not that team before, and he found the spark, that metaphor of the Merkava.
He didn't know it.
Resonates with him better, but the concept for us and understanding how he got where he got resonates better for him than it would for us.
Right, he didn't know that metaphor.
No, he doesn't. Metaphor.
Ron Borovsky did.
No, but you're using the metaphor to sort of explain where he's coming from and how he.
Yes, and how he got there. Let's the Sefirot and the Olamot. I just want to say, we see this, we don't really come in contact too much with the Sefirot. The only time we really do
Keyboard. We read him.
Good.
No,
is
keyboard.
Simchat Torah and Hoshana Rabbah and the Hakafot. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Also read the Sefirot, the song before we say Baruch Shamar on Kippur.
You mean in the
The Piyutim, that
PUT?
the one right before Baruch Shamar. We
We
say-
say the word Sefirot, but we don't go through that.
There's levels.
I don't remember. So the Sefirot, we're not going to discuss it tonight. I recently I read one of the best explanation that I've ever heard of the Sefirot, written by a psychologist from the town in Gush Etzion. His name is Baruch Kahana, and he uses these ideas clinically in his psychotherapy. He's a well-known psychologist in Israel. And he wrote a book called Shevira V'Tikun, Breaking and Reconstruction, or Breaking and Fixing. And he gave the best explanation. Maybe in another opportunity, I'll talk about it. The Sefirot are, in essence, a way of describing how God's abundance, his immense light, gets translated into our world. It's not something that we think about at all that much. In fact, we never think about it.
No.
The only way we think about it is through language, right? We think God affects the world through language, but he does affect the world in many, many ways. And the Kabbalists gave language, gave to these ideas, which are very, what's the word I'm looking for? Ineffable, actually, ineffable. They're hard to bring it to words. So the Kabbalists are making these attempts at doing it, and the Arba Olamot, in some Sidurim,
Yeah, that happens.
they say the Atzilut, just the Sefirot we won't go into, just to take these terms, Atzilut, B'riyah, Yetzirah, and Asiyah. Atzilut is the world of God's emanation to the world, where he's, let's say, the first connection to giving his light or his abundance into the world. Biriyah, creation from nothing. Yetzirah, forming that creation. Asiyah, action in the world. Not so critical for this point, and I don't want to get too much into it. But the point is that every aspect is a microcosm of the things above it. So even the lowest aspect that enters into the world it goes through the thing and enters the person. And the person, through his culture and through his things, every person has this point. I'm skipping a lot. Go down to the bottom of the first column on the second page. And ולכן,
Second to list,
First line.
no, second to list, the list.
second page.
No, which is the.
Two rough ends.
Oh, the
Second to list.
last one. לכן, אפילו קל שבקלים, ופושעי ישראל, ומוסרים נפשם על קדושת השם על הרוב. Now he's writing in the end of the 17th, beginning of the end of the middle of the 17th century. ולכן אפילו קל שבקלים, ופושעי ישראל, מוסרים נפשם לקדושת השם על הרוב. Even the person that knows nothing, the lightest person, וסובלים עינויים קשים, שלא יכפור בהשם, and they suffer, they're willing to suffer in order not to go against God. ואף אם הם בורים ועמי הארץ, ואין יודעים בתורת השם, even if they know nothing. וגם במעט שיודעים, even what they do know, they don't really look into it. ואין מוסרים נפשם מחמת דעת והתבוננות בהשם כלל, they're not doing it because they intellectually understand God or they thought about the identity, אלא בלי שום דעת והתבוננות, just as it is. כאילו הוא דבר שאי אפשר כלל לכפור בהשם אחד. As if they cannot, when the push comes to shove, they're not going to deny it. בלי שום טעם וטענה. והיינו משום שהשם אחד מאיר ומחיה כל נפש, ידי התלבשותו בבחינת חוכמה שבה every person, every Jewish person has this sense. Now, what about the people that
Has what sense?
the sense that they're part of Am Yisrael, and even the lowest of low, I mean, the least knowledgeable, can at times, when his push comes to shove, can be able to bring out this connection to God, and that's how he's explaining.
But you're making like it's a thing that exists out there that they have nothing to do with. That's why he's picking people who are not, too intelligent. They're very calm.
No, even those.
I'm saying he's saying those people.
Even those people.
Yeah, but their connection is not something mystical.
Listen, I didn't say the word mystical.
I know that, but the way he's writing it, he says that thing gets to them, and therefore they react that way. That's what you said. That thing, whatever that thing is,
Right.
it gets to them. It transmits to them.
Maybe cultural, whatever.
So that's how, at the beginning I said it's cultural. It's something that it's a part of our identities that we're not aware of. We are, but people who grow up in a culture,
Yeah.
this thing comes into them, and they are when they're forced to bring it out, it comes out. When they're forced to give up that aspect of their identity,
Mhm.
they will not give it up, and that is something that we see in the hostages, and this is trying to explain a reality. This reality happened, that the people, the hostages, and people connected in the Israeli society who are following them have strengthened the Jewish identity. It's a movement that's going on within the state of Israel now, within many Jews in Israel.
But the fact that they're living in Israel and part of a Jewish society already puts them steps ahead of what he's describing over here.
Why? They don't have any connection.
What is
The fact that they're living, they're speaking.
That's true. That's definitely true.
Very different than here.
They have a connection.
Yeah, so he remember, he's talking in Europe,
Right.
in the shtetl, okay?
Those are not the same, to take this concept and try to put it on the people, the hostages, the people living in Israel, there's too much gap between them.
Well, talk about cultural legacy that you have, right? It's in the shtetl, it's in the Syrian community, and it's in the state of Israel.
Right.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
people
so what's the gap?
No.
People in Israel who
No.
don't have any idea about anything about religion.
And if you give me a Mamdani follower here in the United States,
they all.
but he's not gonna have that same spark or that same sense of feeling, and he's not gonna come back to that point that we're describing of these hostages. It's a totally different, the hostages are 10 steps, 20 steps ahead of him already.
That's true.
Yes.
That's
So-
true.
so the-
So it's not all of Israel and speak, so is the application to the Jewish Mamdani voter,
It's weaker.
the Jewish,
I don't know.
definitely
I
weak,
don't know if this thing would hold. by-
definitely, yes, I
But
agree
it
with,
will
I agree with,
assimilate here.
I agree with that.
Move to
I-
Memphis,
Right,
Mormon, you go here,
yeah,
all the time, then second, third generation.
yes, yes.
Done.
Yeah, it's true. And there are even, Syrians that leave the community and and it's true. So, that's what I'm saying. It's not mystical and it's not definite, but it can be used to explain why these people who are far
Connected.
are connected still and are willing to give up things in order to stick by their dream.
I mean, it's beautiful and it was very heartwarming to hear that the guy decided to put on the tefillin, a guy put on tzitzit, etc. But it was sort of not words not expected, but it was just the natural progression of people living in a Jewish society that they're going to find some salvation or some solace in the religion. And it's not because they all of a sudden they had a spark, a thing inside that had to reconnect. It's society. They see it all around them.
You're saying it's not unique?
Hold on a second.
No, I
It
think
would not have
that
happened.
they were lucky that they had this culture in there in order to be able to them to come back and find meaning.
Some of these people have zero religion, and never brought up,
But
don't
the-
know what Tanakh is.
Avi, the fact that they're brought up in Israel, and the fact they see on Saturday that the businesses are closed, the majority, they see stuff, they see. it go on.
No, that point is true. That point is true. No one's denying that. It still demands explanation. Why, if it means nothing, if observance meant nothing to them, right?
Which
Putting on tefillin, that, which it didn't. They went a rave on Shabbat Torah, okay? Now, not everyone there was not religious,
I think it's also that they have to
but
find
let me just
meaning.
finish the point. That, so and some of them, many of them, and it's like a movement in Israeli society today, are reconnecting. They're not becoming Balei Tshuva, but they want to find something that, and these things are external things that they want to, like, I want to show that I'm Jewish. I want to show that I identify with Torah. And it's part of this is a religious war. And when you push against my religion, even if they're not religious,
Right, that's.
they're gonna push back.
Yes.
I think also.
I think that's part of what, in his own language, what the Admon Haken, the Baal Tanya is there.
Then it's just its basic human nature.
Could be,
I
could be.
think
At the end of the day, they know that they tried to kill me because I am Jewish.
Right.
Right there, that's enough for me, right there to start
It's not
appreciating
Have
and
pushback.
understanding what I got.
that pushback.
Yeah, it does not more than, you don't need more than that.
Okay,
But I think also the issue, I mean, here also is that these people in the war, whatever, houses are trying to find meaning for life, because if there's no meaning, they're just gonna say, I'm done. And I can't go forward, even if they're released. What was it all for?
mhm.
So trying to attach it to something that they can at least hope means something gives them a lot more comfort, a lot more ability to cope.
So it's a great point, but we almost died for this, for what? So if I almost died for this,
Must be worth something.
I want to see what it is. And that's one of the things that I think Israel needs at this point. Because we're in the fourth generation, let's say, from the founding of the state. There's a book by Netanel Ellenson, Kisur Toldot HaYisraeliyut, a short history of Israeliness. And he says, okay, it's a little bit, that we've had 3 Jewish states. They last about 75 to 80 years, and then they split up. Right? We had David and Shlomo, then a split. We've had the Hashmonaim, it goes about 80, 90 years, then it breaks up. So now we're in the 75th, 76th year. Are we going to make it past the 80th year curse that of going in? I want to get to Rav Shagad's explanation, and also a comment that he made during the Second Lebanon War. I know I have about 10 more minutes.
No
Um,
rush.
I'm running to the sweater.
uh,
No rush.
10 o'clock?
ההיסטוריה מלמדת אותנו, second column on the second page, הרב שג"ר. This is his lesson, his classes that he gave on the Tanya. I have the book also. ההיסטוריה מלמדת אותנו שבשעת משבר, שעת מבחן, in crisis, in times of testing, אפילו פושעי ישראל מוכנים למסור נפשם על קדושת השם. Even people who are sinners are willing to give their lives for Hashem, for קדושת השם. ולא לנתק עצמם מעם ישראל. מבחינה רציונלית, in a rational way, אין לכך סיבה, there's no reason for it. רוצים לכפות את אותו פושעי ישראל לעבור על דתו, הוא אחד שאוכל את תאוונו נבלות הטרפות. He eats unkosher, he eats ham and cheese, he eats seafood, shrimps and all that, אבל כאשר כופים אותו והופכים את העניין לעקרוני, when you make the thing a principle, הוא מתקומם ומסרב. He refuses and he stands up against it. עד כדי כך שהוא מוכן אף למסור את נפשו על כך. He's willing to give his life for it. הכפייה למעשה מזכירה לאדם, the force and the duress the person is under reminds the person that his identity, his basic identity, אפילו העבודה, even if it has been lost at that point, אותו יכנה האדמו"ר הזקן בשם עצמות, it's his essence.
You mentioned before that, you know, when we're saying about the Israelis who packed their bags and went right back. I don't know if there was a Kedushat Hashem.
No, wasn't.
Okay, was that?
That's not, but the ones who are not going to convert to Islam or read the Quran or that, skipping in the next to the bolded section of the next chapter, or the next paragraph.
Rubbish.
אבל בשעה שכופים אותו, כאשר הדבר הופך לעקרוני, הוא מוכן למסור את נפשו עבור עצמותו הפנימית, his essence. That's what I wanted to work on identity. What is your identity? When you're forced to say, what are you? This is what I am. That you work on your עצמותו הפנימית. המצב המשברי מגלה את מה שהיה טמון בעצמות הבסיסית. The duress situation makes him bring out what was deeply ingrained in him, even below his level of consciousness. Skip to the last paragraph. The last on this thread. היהודי מחפש את שורשיו, את הקשר שלו להיסטוריה, לאבותיו. A Jew looks for his roots. He looks for his connection to history, to his ancestors. להקשרים המצביעים על נקודה המקור שלו. This is the search for identity. Identity happens to the identity of who you are. I mean, we have it. We are lucky to be born in this community. We are fortunate. It's a blessing, you know, a blessing that we know who we are. We know who identity, and we have a wealth, and we tap into this wealth every time we go to synagogue, every time we see the community at events. I mean, of course, it's hard to describe to you. You ever go to an event of someone that is a business associate, and you know no one at the place? I feel like that all the time in Israel. I know 2-3 people, and
It's hard because you didn't grow up there.
yeah, exactly.
Very hard.
Yeah, exactly. I had a long talk with Ricky Rudy about this. I think I told you, I don't remember what I told him, but I was in Bet Torah, the Kedusha, Mincha, and Shabbat. I said this last week. I don't know.
No.
You have 250 people singing Kedusha, not one of your run-of-the-mill ones. And I said, I love this.
Of course.
I don't get it. I like this better than the synagogues in Israel. And I went over to Rabbi Asenkot and another rabbi from Israel. I said, I feel like one of them Neragilim. Because I like something in Chutz La'aretz better than Israel. I like Bet Torah. So the other rabbi, he said, I love Bet Torah also. That, and Rabbi Asenkot said, Rabbi Ralfi, we should go and make them sing like that. And then I thought about something that we might know the tune, but they know the meaning of the words. Okay, so
But you have to move to Renan, that's it.
I'm not ready to leave my wife yet.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what she did grow up in the community.
Yes, yeah,
Right.
yes, yeah, and it's, so I spoke to Ricky, and Ricky said, I told Ricky this thing, and he said, yeah, that's why I decided not to go. I wanted the continuity, and I knew that over there, we don't have the continuity. And it's a price that I knowingly paid when I went there. But it's something that we have a tremendous advantage of having. I want to go to the last column of the last page, which Rav Shagad wrote during the second, or right after the second Lebanon war. Be'enai, the last column, last page, is bolded of Shagad in his book Nehalech Beragesh, that's his Rashi Tevot. בעיניי, מלחמת לבנון מלמדת שהגרעין היסודי הציוני של עם ישראל לא רק שלא נעלם חלילה, אלא, this is 20 years ago, right? It's not only was it not disappeared, this core, this basic core of what it is of a Zioni, connection to Zionism, it's in Am Yisrael, it's not of Israelis. See, this is already the postmodern, post-Zionist age that he's writing in. So, like you don't, but it's not lost. It is the core of the people. I went after the stories that are filled with love for the land, for the people, and for the land, that those who fell in the war, Second Lebanon War, 25 years ago, that they spoke on in the Memorial Day. עם ישראל שסתכל בהם שונה לחלוטין מדימויו השגור בתקשורת. It's very different than what the media portrays. עלינו אם כן לחבור על אף חילוקי הדעות העמוקים, despite the deep differences we have, we should connect to this central core of who we are. And those who that keep the faith of this identity of who we are as, he's talking about Israelis. He says he believes in the vision of Rav Kook that the glory of this nation is not necessarily through its economic or technological strength, and not from the high quality of living that exists over there, but of being a place of tzedek, of good, of righteousness, and of light, enlightened, harat panim, of good favor to one another. I believe, he says, this is Rav Shagad, that this nation, this state, can accomplish, in one way or another, the great vision of the Nevi'im, to be a Medinat Tzedek, to be a nation of justice, and a Medinat Nes, and a nation of Nes. Nes can mean two things, by the way. It can mean miracle.
Or sign,
What?
or sign.
Right? Or like it's can be
Signpost.
a sign. No, like a flag, like a sign.
Yeah.
Lo pa manichash. Now here there's a wild statement. More than once I feel. It's third paragraph from the bottom, at the end of the paragraph, fourth line from the bottom. אני חש שהנטל מוטל דווקא עלינו, הדתיים והחרדים, ואין לנו לשום מדרכנו כדי לחולל תהליך. We have to make תשובה, us, the דתיים and the חרדים. The דתיים והחרדים. He's talking about himself. עלול להתברר, it's likely that it'll become clear, שאנו הננו מעכבי הגאולה. We are the ones delaying the redemption. דווקא בגלל התבצרות בישן, התבצרותנו בישן, because we are entrenched in the old,
Oh, I like it.
במוסכם. No, he's writing about himself, okay?
Yeah.
במוסכם, in what was consensus, בכפול, what's frozen, במנוכר, what has become alien to reality. He says, Dati'im and Haredim, not only Haredim, by the way, Dati'im, he's speaking on himself. He said, Zionism cannot have had, return to the land had to go through, only seculars could have done it, Only the secularists could have done it because we were too entrenched, too fossilized in our ways to think of anything out of the box. This is Rav Shagar. This is the atmosphere that exists over there. They are thinking of new things, but new things that are coming organically out of the tradition. And he brings this from Rabbi Nachman. Now you'll see why, right? One of the reasons why Rabbi Nachman is read by these people is because he has groundbreaking ideas. He writes,
This one.
he's going to do now. כך כתב רבנו נחמן מברסלב, אבל כשהזקנים, the elders, and he's using this in a negative sense, המאריכי ימים שבדור, those that live long in the generation, פוגמים את ימיהם, they defile their days, ואין מוסיפים אור קדושה ודעת בכל יום, and they don't add the light of holiness and knowledge every day. And then he uses a term that's mizeh yonek netzach hanachash, which is the root of all evil. So the root of all evil is that people just get fixed in their ways. This is what we've always done. Let's continue doing it. No, that is not right. That cannot be. רבי נחמן למד שאת מקורה של התפיסה המטריאליסטית דטרמיניסטית תמצא אותה אצל זקני הדור, אצל המנהיגות הרבנית השוקעת בקיפאון. This materialistic, deterministic thing is really rooted in the older people that are just shokat. They're embedded or mired in the frozenness. Ochezet b'yashan, they grasp on to the old, ve'nenu petucha la'azut dekdusha, and they are not ready for the azut, the brashness of holiness. Wild term. Amitza, courageous. Who simel davka ota kemetzach hanachash, and he calls that the forehead of the serpent. The language is foreign to us, right? The serpent. It means the root of all evil is remaining stuck and fossilized in things that don't make sense anymore. They're not connected anymore. And so, and in his book, Shiva, I might have said this, Luchot v'Shivrei Luchot. This is a book. He talks about the phenomenon of datlashiyut. Datlash is an acronym for Datim L'Shavar. Those are people that grew up in religious homes and that have left. Now, this is an interesting phenomenon. Did we speak about this last week? And I told you about the joke with the apple, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You said it better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He says it's our fault. These people, and I have daughters like this, these people see the problem and see the sometimes absurd thing that are done by religious people in the name of following religion. And they say, this doesn't make sense. And they need a new explanation. So we came from the sense of a connection to the old, and he takes it to the need for being alive to the voice of Hashem, Elohim Chaim, that comes into our lives through history, through our experiences, and the growth that we do. It comes from that core of identity, but that core cannot remain fossilized. And that's the main point that I wanted to get out tonight.
Well, as a student in my first conversation with him, after we met him in 6 days, the next conversation, when I described to him certain things that were going on and that I was bothered by them, and he looks at me and he goes, yes, they've perverted the religion. It's a perversion. So I was looking at him, I only used that word at that time in my life for sex, perverted people. He says they perverted.
We'll get interested.
He said they perverted it. They perverted it. They didn't say it's a perversion. The whole thing that was then. That was in 1968. He's saying that to me, right?
Last I read for work, I read this publication called The Real Deal. It's
Yeah.
real estate, what's going on. So look at it 2 minutes, see what my client, you want to see what the world is, the business world. last week, 4 of the 10 top stories, 4 of the top 10 stories was negative thing, but from people doing bad things, was stealing money, that like 4 out of 5
No, they
stories.
love Syrian, they love.
No, it's not Syrians.
The real deal loves that.
No, but it's not Syrians, but it's, and they have an article at Lakewood. Lakewood, you can't go there and leave with your pants. Like Lakewood is just a bed of
Corruption.
corruption and people, like, everybody's looking for the fast dollar. They don't have education. They're just trying to make a fast dollar. And
Wow.
But now,
Like-
take this,
it's like,
The people
but
that
that's
like
the
this-
world that was in. The guy,
They
he
hate
does bonds. He's missing 200 million. This guy marked us 400 million. And all his clients give him the money. We're also cheating. It's,
but take
that's
these,
the world.
That's the world.
That's
So
the,
stupid.
but take these people who are looking for something,
That's the-
because they've now.
Very sad story.
And it's mostly about you,
No, they focus on.
from people.
from people. The 4 stories?
4 to 5 were about from people corruption.
Their
Wait, take
publication
these
focuses.
people who are looking for, they want to reconnect,
Right.
they find the reconnection. But they have the Haredim right now in Israel basically stymies any desire to do something. Because they look at, this is what you're calling the religion, it's what you're
Well,
calling.
this is the problem he's saying.
See, they need.
So they don't claim, and this is something different, they don't claim that they're becoming Bali Tshuva.
No,
They don't claim,
but you're the guy who's representing me as a Jew?
they don't see them as representing at all.
No, they hate it.
They don't, no,
Yeah,
I don't know if they have, but they don't see them as
Okay.
representing.
But if they want to reconnect somewhat, not about Etzurah, but just to reconnect to their heritage and stuff like that, unfortunately, the
Options.
The
The options.
They don't look to the
guy in the front
because
column.
first of all, most of them,
they don't look at, but
most of them are Sephardi. And therefore, they're connecting to their grandparents.
okay.
They're connecting to something that their grandmothers did.
Right.
But they're not connecting, they don't, Haredim is like an alien world to the people. It's something to, people who read the media or who consume media, the media has an agenda with them. It's not totally undeserved, the criticism they're getting, not at all. But it's, the media is taking it also, media wants to divide us, okay? It wants to divide that, the media wants to.
Slifkin is not that media, he's pointing out.
Right, from the inside, of course, and there are serious problems, and how to deal with it is a thing, and it's not. It's complex because it's the left. If the Haredim would go with the left would give them whatever they want. Also, it's not.
It doesn't exist anymore, really.
You know what I'm saying in the past,
It's not, that's not. part
yeah,
of the
yeah.
election.
So
They're both corrupt.
But there is no left now corrupting anything, because they don't
no,
exist.
no, right now the left is using it as a way of getting down the government.
They have no power, if the government goes down, do
They have
something.
They have all the power. Right now, they have all the power in the judiciary, the media, and the academia, and that they do. They have a lot of power. They don't have elected. They don't have electorate power, but they have real power. They have real power. So the point that I'm going to make is the point that really try to explain the return to. I think that the Jewish identity is stronger within Israel now because of the hostages. But I also wanted to bring that last point, that it's up to us, those who are connected in our families, to our children, to our grandchildren, always make it real, always bring the living Torah, the life of Hashem in ourselves, in the way we understand the world, the way we try to understand the way Hashem wants the world to be, and pass that on. And it has to be alive, has to be vital and vibrant. That's the point. Thank you.
I'll talk about who.
And next week,
Next week, back to the, yeah.
Vacation's over, right?
I go.
Oh, my God.
yes, definitely.
He dressed up pretzel.
What?
I think he dressed up pretzel.
The rabbi's dressed in the car.
Uh,
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. So wait, just bring it back.
Right in the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring it back next week.
We get it to Ron.
Go to Ronnie, and Ronnie, we'll work on it. I'm here for another. I'll be here till next Wednesday. So if you